Welcome to the NASCAR Championship post-race show after a wild championship weekend in Phoenix. Of course, you know I'm Casey Campbell. That you may not know, that is Harry Loomis. Tell him where you're from, because you're kind of new on the NASCAR scene a little bit.
Yeah, thanks for having me, Casey. I am a little bit new. I'm from St. Louis, Missouri, so I'm repping Worldwide Technology Raceway. That's actually my home track out there.
Yeah, you're also repping the fast hoodie sweatshirt. Parker Kligerman would be proud of you.
Yes, I love me some $1 hoodies there. So,
yes, sir. I know you started your own publication a little bit. Kind of tell us how you kind of started this whole thing.
Yeah, so we had an extended break after fall last year due to COVID. So I kind of found myself with about 2 months off, and I was like, I feel like writing. I'm going to start writing some NASCAR stories. So all of a sudden, I got into that, and my mom and I were like making like predictions. We tried to predict like every winner throughout the year. So I made a prediction story based on that, and I decided like I kind of want to get into this. I'm going to try and make it a website. So we started, like, I happened to be in the journalism field where we started learning kind of how to work through Wix and everything like that to try to make your own site. So I decided one day to just kind of sit down and make it happen, and I launched it the day of the Truck Series race at Daytona.
That's amazing. Good to see you definitely made your point on the NASCAR scene. So good stuff there. And by the way, for people that know an update, I'm getting better. I'm feeling better. I was out all weekend due to I've sinus things. I'm still trying to get over this. So apologies there. I'm not yelling. I don't have to yell preview show. So that'll be next week. But anyway, let's talk about this championship. We crowned 4 champions this weekend, but let's talk about that Cup championship race. Kyle Larson, the dominant driver, 10 wins on the season, first double-digit win since Jimmy Johnson did it back in 2007, and I think it's the most laps led in the modern era. I know that the stat gurus and Joe Shrigley in particular, I know that he put out there, I think it was Petty that led more laps in like 67. I'm only going on the modern era, not all of NASCAR history and stuff like that. I don't know. But overall, still pretty good season. It's definitely. I know the system sometimes doesn't really work out, and I know you have your gripes with it, but we won't get to that today. Well, I mean, we can, but overall, what a season. And Larson gets it done.
Yeah, Fox was promoting it all year, the best season ever. They have those promos at the beginning of the year, and it didn't disappoint. I've been telling people all day, like ever since Larson took the checkered flag, I've been texting my mom, my dad, my girlfriend. I think I tweeted it out and everything like that. Best season I've ever witnessed, hands down. Jimmy Johnson 07 was actually my first year, and it's very different because I go from a 6-year-old who was a Matt Kenseth fan who got beat by Johnson several times that year to a Kyle Larson to 20 years old now. And I just can't, even if you're not a Kyle Larson fan, you just have to absolutely appreciate what that guy went through sitting out 1 year. You knew the talent was there from the moment he came into the Cup Series. Like some people saw before then when he won Rockingham in the Truck Series, almost beat Kyle Busch in the Xfinity Series at Bristol. But he came in right away, was making an impact. People knew that he was going to be special, and it was always, can this guy get a ride? To prove what he's capable of. And he'd been rumored to Hendrick for years since Casey Kane had been there. And first year, with all that he's gone through and a package that he had struggled in when he was still with Chip Ganassi, he goes out and wins 10 races, leads over 2,500 laps. The most, like you said, I think it's the most anyone's ever led in a 36 race schedule. And, we can say all we want about the championship and how the playoffs may suck or whatever, but Kyle Larson overruled any possible championship scenario. His team, when they need him most, he got it done in the pits, and he held off the best long run car, Martin Truex Jr., and he had the best playoffs since Tony Stewart and the best overall season maybe since Jeff Gordon in '98. But it's just unbelievable.
And we talk about this because, there was the short run and the long run. Seems like the Gibbs cars were better on the long run. The Hendrick cars were better on the short run. There were a lot of action, a lot of cautions. And basically, we go back to that last caution with just about 30 to go. If that caution had to come out, I think Truex would have won the championship, and it would have been a totally different story. But luckily, things work out as they did, and Larson's pit crew got him out, and he just held him off. And what a way that did that. That was the pit crew came through when they absolutely needed to.
No, absolutely. I think they said the second fastest stop of the entire season, the last stop of the season, the last 5 lug nut stop and everything like that. It's storybook. Like either way, even if Truex would have won on that break that he caught coming into the pits, that would have been a storybook scenario. Larson's pit crew coming up huge at the end. Same thing. And he held off. Truex's car was really starting to kick in the whole race, about 30 laps in, and it was about a 30 lap run to the finish, and he had just enough to hold him off, got him by 4/10.
Yeah, that was a really, really good stop. And you brought up this point earlier. He sat out almost last year with everything that happened to him. And then he goes to Hendrick Motorsports, gets a second chance by Rick Hendrick, and goes out and has one of the most dominant races of the year. Rick Hendrick uses his own money to fund his race team, HendrickCars.com. And just the absolute one of the absolute biggest moves that I can imagine.
Oh, absolutely. And you heard it earlier. Hendrick said it in the interview. He said he'd never thought that he was taking a chance because he knew the talent that Larson had there, and he knew what he was going to be able to do in his equipment. And that bond is just special because Hendrick's always been a guy that kind of limited drivers, what they did outside of the Cup Series, but he knows what dirt racing means to Kyle Larson. He knows what going out on a Tuesday, Wednesday night and just going and dominating against the local guys. He knows how much that fuels him. And I honestly think it makes him a better driver, because he went out and absolutely torched the World of Outlaws and all the local dirt divisions. And I really think it's made him a smarter driver because he went out and was winning every week, 25 lap features like Kyle Petty made that point. And it taught him how to lock races down because he would have some races back with Chip Ganassi where he had the best car and he'd make a mistake, like maybe he'd spin out, pick the wrong lane, take the high line at Atlanta and let Keselowski get by him in 2017, speed on pit road at Bristol one year when he's dominating. But you didn't see those mistakes this year. If Larson was in front, he wasn't going to lose the race. Someone was going to have to beat him. And that's just, you got like that best talent, best car, and he's got the right mentality. That's game over.
All right, let's talk about the other championship 4. Let's talk about Chase Elliott. A really up and down day, but overall doesn't come through with title number 2. But yeah, it was an interesting year for the 19.
It really was. He was obviously one of the best on road courses, but he didn't win on an oval all year, which I kind of found hard to believe. I remember tweeting last week that Alex Bowman and Chase Elliott have the same number of oval wins, which is hard to believe considering how good Chase has been the past 3 years, and he just won the championship a year ago. But he was a top 5 machine. He'd get top 5s, top 10s, ran second probably 8 times this year. That's just a wild guess, but never got it done. But it looked like 75% of this race, it looked like Elliott was the best car because he'd get ahead on the short run and had just enough speed for the most part to hold him off on the long run. And he had the track position at the end when he got around Larson for the lead before the second to last caution where Truex took the lead. I really thought it was going to be a battle between Elliott and Hamlin for the win there, but it just didn't happen. I don't know what happened at the end, but he just kind of dropped like a rock.
Yeah, absolutely. Martin Truex Jr. seemed like he had the long run car of the day. Almost got bit by when the caution came out with Anthony Alfredo when he pounded the wall there, but the 19 comes up short again, and he said this could be the last time he contends for a championship.
That was really interesting to hear. I know Parker Kligerman reported that a couple times during the race, and I don't really know where that's coming from. I don't know if that's just because of all the uncertainty with the new car or what the deal is, but Truex, the way he performed this year, especially late, having big races at Richmond, Martinsville, he may have been the best car today, especially on the long run. That seemed like a driver in a team has many years of contention left. I know Truex is getting a little up there in age. I think he's 41 now, but I don't think he's done by a long shot.
And Denny Hamlin, of course, another championship 4, but once again, comes up short again.
I don't know what that guy needs to get it done. He seemed like he had the worst car of the championship floor, but they got better as the race progressed. They started to have maybe the better long run card compared to Truex's. They said it that second to last run. I think Truex was kind of fading a little bit on that last run before the caution for Alfredo, and Hamlin I think had gotten around Larson for a second, and he was gaining on Elliott. It's going to be really interesting if that race went green, how the strategies would have played out because they were just about to start pitting.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, what a championship for. We had the top 4 guys that led the most laps of the season. You know, everyone gets on this format and all that stuff, but the 4 guys that were in the championship probably were the right 4 guys to get in.
Absolutely. The 4 best guys were fighting at Phoenix there. No doubt about it in my mind.
All right, let's talk about some of the other storylines that were in the race. I know there were a lot of them. I know it was Hendrick and Gibbs trying to battle for this championship, but there were so many other storylines going in. But we also forget with the main focus being on the championship, in which it should. There's also this is also the last race of the season, so this is a last for a lot of guys. You know, before they move on to other teams, move on to other careers and stuff, and that's there. I think the biggest goodbye 3 stand out in mind. Let's first start with this next gen car. You got and it's not just that. You got the 5 lugs. You got the last race of the Gen 6 car. When we go to 2022, it's going to be a whole lot different with this next gen car. So, overall, what would you like to say about this next gen with the next Gen 6 car?
You know, it's interesting because I'm not smart enough to know about any of the intricacies about all the 5 gears and all that stuff, or how much of a difference those single lugs going to make. It's definitely going to be interesting to watch. That's about all I can give on that end. But all I'm going to say is I know they're sticking with the 550 package, and I think they're bringing it down to 670 at road courses and shorter ovals. So I get that's definitely frustrating because I think the overwhelming majority, at least on social media, think that higher horsepower creates better racing, it creates better moments, kind of shows off the driver's talent a little bit more. But we don't know how this next gen car is going to race. It's going to be completely different. Like everyone said, I'm definitely going to give it at least a year to see how it races differently, even with the same horsepower and the limited and everything like that. But it's really anyone's game. I really have no idea what to expect, but I'm excited for it.
And remember, a lot of people with this 550 package seemingly overwhelmingly like the race at Michigan earlier this year, as well as the Pocono race. So who knows what thing there is, but what do we know? Fans do not know what they like. So
no, not at all. They hate the change and the way things are. So
yeah, I mean, I don't know. I don't mind it. It's fine, but it's just like everyone, you can't force everyone to like something. So we'll just have to see how this goes.
right.
Definitely for sure. All right, last race for Chip Ganassi Racing. Oh boy, they did pretty well. They did pretty well today. I know they did not finish where they wanted to, but overall, what do you got to say? Chip Ganassi Racing is no more in NASCAR.
Well, how fitting is it that Kyle Larson ends up winning the racing championship in a Chip Ganassi race? That was pretty special. But looking back, it makes sense with all the sponsors and everything that Chip lost. It kind of makes sense that he's kind of stepping away, kind of accepting the fact that, NASCAR wasn't really financially beneficial to him anymore. He's got a championship winning IndyCar team. He does IMSA and all that other stuff. So it's not going to be too much of a loss. I've always rooted for Chip Ganassi Racing. I've liked a lot of their drivers that they brought in. I've always been a fan of guys like McMurray, Montoya, Larson, Kurt Busch, Chastain's been easy to root for. So I'm excited to see where it goes. I'm glad that they're going to Trackhouse because I know Justin Marks and Chip Ganassi have a good relationship. I think Ross Chastain's actually going to do really well in that car. I'm excited to see what he can do. But yeah, it's just not going to be the same. They've always been in a kind of an above average, fairly mid-pack team in my eyes. They've had some drivers that I think have kind of made them better than they may actually be. But it's definitely going to be a little bit different not to see that 42 and one car at the track every weekend.
Well, you'll still see the one car. It'll be
That's right.
Chastain will drive it, but yeah, the 42 is likely not going to be back. By the way, Ross Chastain finished 14th. Kurt Busch finished 16th, and they're in the final starts for the Ganassi team. Brad Keselowski, his last race with Team Penske. Of course, he'll be going to Roush Fenway Racing in the 6 car. We'll talk about the current the driver of the 6 car currently in a little bit. But Brad finishes 10th on the day in his final start with Team Penske. I don't know if you saw this post race, but he brought the glass that he had when he won the 2012 championship. That was pretty cool.
I love that. I saw people already telling him to go to the media center right after drinking that. That was funny.
Yeah, that was. Overall, what do you guys say about Brad's career at Team Penske as he transitions to Roush Fenway?
I mean, I think Keselowski's tenure speaks for itself. You know, he brought Rogers' first championship. He brought him a Coke 600, a Brickyard 400. Somehow, I can't believe he didn't win a Daytona 500 there with how good he's been on super speedway racing. But that's been an incredible relationship. It's been incredible to see Brad grow too, because he went in as kind of a little bit rough around the edges in the Xfinity Series, won a championship there in his first full-time Cup season too, and they've just progressed every year. They've only gotten better, and he's been so beneficial to that team, not only in racing, but he was an owner. He brought in Ryan Blaney, Austin Cindric, Chase Briscoe was there for a while, Tyler Reddick was there for a while. So his impact on Penske, even with guys that have gone on to do different things, Daniel Hemrick too, even guys that have gone on to do different things, but a lot of drivers through the Penske pipeline have Brad Keselowski to thank. And I think he's going to be an absolutely fantastic owner. I'm really excited to see him at Roush.
Here's an interesting stat. The last 4 Xfinity champions have gone through BKR, Brad Keselowski.
Oh, wow. Yeah, that's right. Because Reddick twice and Cindric.
And then last night with Daniel Hemrick.
Right. Yeah. That's wild. I didn't even realize that.
Yeah. I wanted to throw that stat out for you. Matt DiBenedetto, he's had an interesting week. He comes home 12th in his last start with the Wood brothers.
Yeah, I don't know what's next for Matt DiBenedetto, to be honest with you. I don't know if I mind Wood brothers picking Harrison Burton over him, because it's a new car. It's kind of a clean slate. If DiBenedetto's not the guy, why not start off on the right foot with a new guy and kind of see where you guys if you guys can kind of build something together there. I would have said Colleague would have been the move for DiBenedetto with that second that second charter in the Cup Series. Maybe he could run for the Xfinity Championship, dominate there, and split the races with AJ Allmendinger or something like that. But Daniel Hemrick's taking Justin Haley's spot, so I really don't know what's next for DiBenedetto, to be honest with you.
All right. Of course, we will find out. Now that the season's over, a lot of those silly season moves are going to get announced.
Right.
Ryan Preece comes home 20th in his final start with JTG. Another driver we don't know what's going to happen with them next. But overall, and plus that car wasn't even supposed to run all the races this year. So
they ran open all year, yeah. I don't know. I always feel bad for Preece because I feel like he's better than his equipment. I've always thought that. I've always been a fan of him, so that could be me thinking like that. But you saw what he did in the Joe Gibbs car in the Xfinity Series. I think that's probably the best route for him. You know, that's just me just completely speculating, thinking there's an opening in Penske in the 22 ride for Xfinity. Maybe he looks at a spot like that and takes a John Hunter Nemechek approach to kind of taking a step back to be able to go forward with a better team. Just kind of throwing that out there.
Ryan Newman comes home 23rd. That could be in his last start with Roush Fenway, and also could be his final start ever in NASCAR. And I know he said he doesn't want it to be his final start, but who knows? But if it is, what are you going to remember?
I'm going to remember the Rocket Man. I'm going to remember my second Daytona 500. He got that push from Kurt Busch to win the thing. I remember Brickyard 400s. I remember wins at New Hampshire and Phoenix. You know, I missed Newman's 2003 season where he had 8 wins, but I remember a guy that was just fun to watch. You know, I remember that bonsai move he made at Charlotte a few years ago where he took the lead on a restart and was driving by everyone, running qualifying times, then blowing a tire and wrecking. I remember a guy that was reckless in the best way possible. He knew how to get the most out of a car, whether for a qualifying session or for a race. And he just he raced every race, every lap like he was his last, and I've always appreciated that about Newman.
37. It looks like not a good day to end for Starcom Racing. Quinn Half crashes out and the team is done.
Yeah, that's unfortunate. It's tough to say, but that was about indicative of Starcom's season, especially. But I always like to see new teams come in and try to make something happen, just because you never know. But that team got off to a rocky start, and it got to the point where they were wrecking every week. Quinn Half was struggling a little bit. You remember Texas, where he I think hit Christopher Bell trying to pit and wrecked, hit Matt DiBenedetto and everything like that. But it got to the point where people just got mad that they were on the track taking up a charter. So that's kind of a tough spot, because it's kind of hard for a team to build anything when you got that going on. But it's a shame that it didn't work out for them.
Yep. Of course, like it's likely that charter is going to go to Spire. Obviously, Spire hasn't confirmed that, but we'll have to see what happens there. Lots of new faces and lots of new places. We'll obviously have that discussion throughout, as of course the preview show will be going throughout the off season. Got to keep that algorithm going here on
Absolutely.
YouTube. All right, let's biggest surprise, biggest disappointment from the season in terms of team. It could be team, driver wise. Let's start with biggest surprise.
Biggest surprise, I think we're gonna go William Byron. I didn't know what to expect from Byron this year. I actually think I had him missing the playoffs just because they made it in on their last race in the regular season. They won, and I thought this year's series was a little bit more talented. But he shocked me out of the gate. Won at Homestead, dominated that race at the end, and was just consistent the whole year. Should have won a couple more races. He could have won Kansas. He could have won Michigan, but he there's no worse driver at Hendrick anymore. William Byron's a guy that I could see breaking out, either being a Ryan Blaney type driver where he wins a race every year, or even I could see him just kind of hitting lightning in a bottle one year and winning 3 or 4 races.
Biggest disappointment.
Biggest disappointment, I think I got to go as a team, Stewart-Haas Racing. Yeah. I don't know what happened to them, but that was they were just abysmal all year. If a guy like Kevin Harvick can't win a race in a season, things are going bad. Almirola was terrible except for New Hampshire, and he stole a playoff spot. Briscoe showed promise late in the year, but it was kind of a lost season. I had higher hopes for him even in his rookie year. And then Cole Custer, just nothing went right for that guy.
Yeah. I'm going to give you another disappointment. Anybody else that you thought seen do well and they dropped the ball?
I thought Priest would do better, to be honest with you. I don't think he was in the best equipment, but I thought he was in better than 26th place, 27th place, whatever he finished. But he started out the year kind of strong. He always runs well at Daytona, but it was just kind of the same thing. They just couldn't stay out of trouble, getting in some wrecks, having some mechanical issues, but he just really could never rebound. And it sucks that he's out of a ride.
All right. Okay, let's end this. 3 bold predictions for the 2022 season.
3 bold predictions. You want me to just go like all 3 at once, or do you want me to? Are we going back and forth, or?
Yeah, all three.
All 3 at once. Okay. I will go. Daytona 500 winner is Kyle Busch.
Ooh.
The one thing he's missing in his resume. I think he gets it done.
Well, with all these new tracks, he's got new boxes to check.
There we go. Exactly. So I think I'm excited for Kyle Busch. I thought he was going to rally more this year, and he's coming off 2 down years. I'm really excited to see what he can do next year. Number 2, I made this one this year, but it didn't happen. He only got 1 win this year, but I will say Christopher Bell wins 3 times next year.
Ooh.
He showed promise in the second half of the season, and I think I can see it happening.
Okay. And what's your last one, bud?
My third prediction, I'll say we get 2 new faces in the championship for next year, and I'm going to go with Ryan Blaney and William Byron. All
righty. There you go. Pressure's on for 2022.
No pressure, guys.
You got to get him on there, but it's going to be fun with this. See what happens in 2022. Everybody is on that everyone's on a level playing field with this new one. No more building chassis. That's all going to be built. These cars are going to be shipped and built and ready to go. Obviously, they're going to still do some more assembling and all that stuff, but yeah, no more building your own chassis. That's going to be done. Cost saving measure with this next gen car. So
Yeah, it's gonna be fun. I'm excited to see it. Should level the playing field a lot, so that'll be exciting to see what happens there.
definitely there. All right, Harry Loomis, thank you so much for coming on. That's going to do it for the post race show. Congrats to Kyle Larson, Daniel Hemrick, Ben Rhodes on winning of course, Larson won the Cup Championship, Hemrick the Xfinity Championship, Ben Rhodes the Truck Championship. Also, congratulations to Ty Gibbs, the ARCA Menard Series champion, Sammy Smith, the ARCA East champion, and of course, Jesse Love, the ARCA West champion, as well. And thank you to all of you for following me along in the 2021 coverage. Got a lot more coming this off season. You might see some more tribute videos, storylines next up, and then you might see a lot of this guy coming up in the off season. We got a lot of plans for different types of videos throughout the off season, and who knows? Of course, silly season is going to be still going on as well as drivers announce where their plans are for next season. All right, we'll keep you updated, and I'm sure we're going to get some silly season news by the time this week starts.